Wise are the ones who are yet in touch with God's true nature, God's loving nature. The rest of the humanity roams this planet, making their own projections of Him. Hi, how are you guys doing? And I hope you're doing well. I really do. So, today I wanted to talk about my own experiences with God and my own revelations with God and my own personal, the way I see Him and the way I find Him to be true. So, growing up, most of us have this idea of God, and it depends from person to person, circumstances, people, the way you grew up, with your parents, big influence on that. And we do have our own ideas of Him, of how He would be or how He would react to things. And maybe that is where we went wrong. See, the reason why all of this started, or maybe we can say how it started, can help us explain how things went the way they are right now. And in that process, you realize that it is not a specific person's fault. In fact, it is no one's fault, but the ideas that most of us carry around of who God is maybe is wrong. So let's dive deep into it. So, God is an abstract idea to a simple human mind. And when I say simple human mind, most of us feel that in any specific way it is targeted to us and we get very defensive about it. But the thing is that we are not limited to our human minds, simple human minds. Yes, we have been using it for a long amount of time, and it is almost as if that we are very strongly identified with it. And when I say this, I also include myself because, as I always say, as I said in my previous videos too, I am also on this journey and I am not an ascended master or guru in any specific form. I just like to talk about what I have personally went through and hope that these things do help you. So, getting on to it, God is a very abstract idea to human mind. So, what does one do if they want to deepen their connections, develop their deepened connections with an abstract idea? How do we develop a deeper connection with one? By making them one of our own, or what we think we are. Now, this is a very deep statement because we took a very abstract and infinite idea of God and we gave him a shape of a human as one of our own, right? Or what we think we are, because we think that we are humans, but we are just experiencing this human form currently on this planet and this space. But we are not humans by any specific means. We are not humans. We are souls. So, anyways, how do we develop a deeper connection? So, what we did is that we tried to personify them. We turned them into a man, a woman, someone who is familiar to us, and someone who is just like us or what we think we are. We thought we are man and women, so or humans, and we personified the God in that form. Now, this in itself is not a bad thing at all. In fact, it is a great thing. Now, the thing is that we humans do have a tendency to create fiction, right? We all have read fiction, In fact, I personally have read fiction. I loved Harry Potter, by the way. So yeah, we like fiction. We do like fiction, you know. And that is the thing. Humans make fiction. People made stories about how God is, and that is when we started projecting our own faults or quirks. I'd rather say not faults, because in a way nothing is your fault, like nothing is a fault in any way if you're not attached to it. Your anger is not you, and that is something I'll talk later on, maybe in another video. But right now I wanted to talk about that we projected these things onto him. Now we created these ideas that God is a judging person, that God will judge. We created these ideas that God can get angry. We created these ideas that God can have these emotions of a human, and more importantly, act on them. And that is when we strayed far away from the very idea of God. Not the idea, the very nature of God, the loving nature of God. Now, also, one thing which influences this is your relationship with your parents, because as when you were a child, you were provided by them, maybe still now, that is completely fine, and you start to see them as gods. The thing is that they are also humans and experiencing a human life. So now you project all the things that your parents did, not consciously, but a part of you unconsciously does that and project them onto God, right? So if you do this, I'll get you this. Conditions, right? Conditions. And God is in its very essence is unconditional love for you, which I'll talk later on in this. So now what happens from all of this is that we imagine God to be someone external, to be someone far away from us, to be someone apart from us, to be someone different from us, to be someone far away or far apart, or someone far perfect who will look at you judgingly. And then when we feel so far away from God because of our own self, we start to get into these traps of shame and guilt which has been programmed to you by the society, maybe the way you grew up. Now, no need to resent all of this, because when you understand all of this, you realize that it is all just a case of misinformation, you can say. You know, you just had the wrong idea, misconception. That is all it is, right? Now, let's get to the reality then. What is God like? God is perfect. And by perfect, many people think that okay, God is someone who's external and he's perfect. And now he'll look down at us and he'll judge us. But from my own experiences, I can tell you that this is the furthest thing from truth which could be. I myself fell into these traps, and so I make this video in a hope that you do not have to go through these same things again, as I did. Now, obviously, you can go into these things again, and that is completely fine in itself, not an issue. But I personally wouldn't, and I hope you would not too. Ah, eye is itching. So, now let's come on to what we discussed, what God is not like. Now let's discuss what God actually is like, and these are all things that I actually experienced, and that is how maybe I can say with confidence that this is what it is like. So the thing is that you consider God to be someone who is outside of you, who is external of you. The reality is that you are a part of God, alright? And God loves you unconditionally. There are no conditions. Love is unconditional. There are no conditions in love. Truly, no conditions. Alright. Now, God loves you unconditionally. You are a part of God, and God sees you as a part of Himself. God does not see you as someone who is separate from Himself. You are a product of His extension of love, you can say. His love, you are a product of it. And you, at your very core, if you remove all of the stuff that you have left, what remains in all of us is love. Now, this is also a topic of discussion which we can discuss in different videos, but all of these things are very interconnected, and because of that, we stumble across these topics again and again. So, you are a part of God, and God loves you unconditionally. And the reason I'm repeating this again and again is because you need to know that you are a part of Him, and He does not see you as someone separate from Him. So, He loves you unconditionally. There are no conditions, right? God is not someone who will judge you. Most of us has this fear of judgment. I don't know about you personally, but I did. I was afraid of how I'd be judged as a person morally. And many of us do have this tendency, and we feel a sense of fear because of that. We feel, what if He judges us because He's so perfect, right? That is the thing. He does not judge us. He's very understanding. He's very loving. And these are all my personal experiences. Now, the thing is that you can project a form into God, a human form if you like. But what I need you to do, and what I ask you to do, is that do not project the emotions such as anger and judgment, all these onto Him, because that is detrimental to your own self, right? You are unconditionally loved by God, and God loves you unconditionally. That is the thing that I have repeated in this again and again, because that is the truth, right? That was it. Thanks for watching, and maybe I'll talk to you in the next one.